Much to the chagrin of pigskin hardos, the NFL just isn't about what happens between the lines anymore. Like it or not, social media has turned NFL players into full-blown celebrities, and by proxy, their wives and girlfriends have found themselves firmly under the spotlight. And with that spotlight comes scrutiny. In some cases, a lot of it. Whether it's political firestorms, resurfaced tweets, or heck, even feuds with other players' partners, there is no shortage of drama. These women are constantly under the microscope, and whether it's fair or not, the attention follows them everywhere they go. Some of these you've definitely heard about. Others might surprise you, but all of them have found themselves at the center of some serious heat here in 2025. So today, we are now counting down the 10 most controversial NFL wags in the game right now. So, without further ado, let's dive right into it. Lyanna Lenise. This might be the most viral wag story of the entire year, and it all started at the Heisman Trophy ceremony. When Travis Hunter's name was called as the winner of college football's most prestigious award back in December, the cameras caught his then-fiancée Lyanna Lenise sitting down while everyone else stood to celebrate until Coach Prime motioned her to stand, which promptly resulted in the internet doing what it does and losing its mind. And draft night was just the beginning. In the time since, fans have gone full PI and have found plenty to talk about, like the $sign tattoo on her ring finger, which immediately raised some red flags. Then came the wedding footage where she appeared to dodge Hunter's kiss during their first dance. Gold digger, user, cloud chaser. The accusations piled up so quickly that both she and Travis ended up deactivating their social media accounts entirely. Then things took an unexpected turn. Lyanna posted a tearful video defending herself and dropped a bombshell in the process. She claimed that Hunter had cheated on her in the past. She also revealed he had slid into her DMs while he still had another girlfriend listed in his bio. In August, some false divorce rumors spread claiming that she was demanding $40 million from the rookie, but it apparently was all completely fabricated. But still, the damage to her reputation was already done. Now, we don't really know what's going on behind closed doors here, but the court of public opinion has certainly made up its mind. Cardi B. This one has been a roller coaster from day one. Cardi B and Stefon went public with their relationship in May of 2025, and by September, she announced that she was pregnant with his baby. Sadly, this love story has allegedly been anything but a fairy tale. During her pregnancy, multiple women came forward alleging Diggs had gotten them pregnant too. Paternity accusations, cheating rumors, the whole mess. At one point, Cardi reportedly moved out of their home while still pregnant. She wiped couples' photos from Instagram, and fans were pretty convinced that this relationship was over for good. Her ex-husband, Offset, threw some shots too, calling her out on social media in some since-deleted posts. Cardi fired back, and suddenly it became this whole public spectacle that had nothing to do with football. The couple has bounced back and forth so many times at this point that nobody really knows where they stand week to week. One day they're posting some flirty comments under each other's photos, and the next, there's breakup speculation all over the timeline. Cardi and Diggs are the definition of it's complicated. And if we know anything about these two, the pregnancy scandal is just the tip of the iceberg. There will be more drama in no time. I mean, we all remember the Patriots star receiver's boating adventures from this summer while the rest of his team was hitting the practice field. Taylor Swift. The issue really isn't that Taylor's done anything wrong here. It's more so the obsession around her relationship that's gotten so intense that cultural critics are now questioning whether this level of emotional investment in celebrities is actually healthy. When her and Travis Kelce started dating, brands came rushing in. And that capitalist instinct only multiplied following their engagement announcement. It isn't just the ecosystem that spawned either. A big part of the ire that she drew from hardcore football fans was just them being sick of the way that the NFL was leaning into this whole thing. And then, of course, there's the whole political situation with Brittany Mahomes. You got Taylor on one side endorsing Kamala Harris and Brittany on the other side liking Trump posts. And suddenly, their friendship became a whole national conversation. Taylor Swift is the most famous wag in NFL history. And honestly, I don't think there's a debate about that. She blew way past the rest of these ladies before she even knew who Kelce was. But that level of fame brings its own unique set of problems that has put her firmly on this list. Congdon. The timing on this one couldn't have been worse if they had planned it this way. Saquon Barkley and his girlfriend Congdon announced their engagement in early February, just days before the Eagles played in the Super Bowl. It should have been a feel-good story to kick off championship week. Instead, it turned into a full-blown scandal. Almost immediately, people started digging through Anna's social media history and found old tweets that she had posted as a teenager. The response from social media was swift and unforgiving about the outspoken minority. People called her racist, questioned Barkley's judgment for being with her, and pointed out that they have 2 black children together. Anna locked her social media accounts and deleted the tweets, but by then, screenshots were everywhere. She eventually came out with an apology, saying that the words didn't reflect who she is today and that she's learned and grown ever since then. And fortunately, Barkley has defended her publicly. Of course, there were plenty of fans willing to give her some grace since, well, she was a teenager when she made those posts. But the more cynical segment of the internet population wasn't having it. Not that that should really surprise anybody at this point. That's just kind of who the internet is. Brittany Mahomes. If there's a queen of NFL WAG controversy, then it is Brittany Mahomes. And honestly, it's not even close at this point. I mean, she literally had the president calling her phenomenal and said that he liked her much better than Taylor. But let's put the political angle aside for a moment, because that whole story, if you want to call it that, has been its own beast. And it's really just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to Brittany. Most recently, it was the GoFundMe scandal, if you want to call it that resulted in a slew of people calling her tone deaf for asking regular fans to chip in when she really could have just handled it herself without even noticing the money was gone. She's also been criticized for constantly blasting referees on social media after calls don't go the Chiefs' way. As well, she's been criticized for her outfit choices and behavior at games, and for defending her brother-in-law Jackson after his assault charges became public. It's hard not to feel like Brittany Mahomes is polarizing on purpose at this point. It's just kind of become her whole brand. She doesn't apologize, she doesn't back down, and she clearly does not care what anyone thinks about it. Simone Biles. Simone Biles is arguably the greatest athlete of her generation in just about any sport. And somehow every single time her name comes up in the news, there is some kind of noise attached to it now. The GOAT of gymnastics just cannot seem to escape the online criticism no matter what she does. And a lot of it stems from her husband, Jonathan Owens. It started back in 2023 when Owens said on a podcast that he was the catch in their relationship. The internet, well, it kind of erupted over that one. People could not believe that he'd actually say that about the most decorated gymnast of all time, even if it was probably tongue-in-cheek. Simone defended him and explained the context, but the damage to his public image was done. Then there was her Twitter showdown with Riley Gaines this past summer, and the whole ordeal after Owens posted pictures of himself wearing her medals, which admittedly is kind of a crazy thing to have to defend, but that's just kind of where they're at. Everything that this couple does is just combed over meticulously. It doesn't help matters either that Owens has kind of struggled during his limited time on the field as of late, leading to some Bears fans openly calling for him to be cut from the roster. Olivia Culpo. Olivia Culpo's wedding to Christian McCaffrey was supposed to be the fairy tale moment that everyone talked about for the right reasons. Instead, it became a TikTok takedown that she is still dealing with months later. In her interview with Vogue about the ceremony, Culpo said that she wanted a dress that didn't exude sex in any way, shape, or form. Critics were quick to point out that her entire Instagram presence tells a completely different story, as she's a former Miss Universe who regularly posts swimsuit content and form-fitting outfits that are designed to get attention. So when she started preaching modesty for her wedding, people called it performative, which is, yeah, maybe a little understandable, especially when you see her after-party dress. Culpo tried to clarify her comments after the backlash, stating that her words were spun out of context by the media. But the narrative had already taken a hold at this point, and there was no walking it back. It's a tough spot to be in, and she's certainly not the first celebrity to get called out for perceived hypocrisy. But when you're an NFL WAG with millions of followers watching your every move, everything gets magnified tenfold, and there is just nowhere to hide. Sydney Warner. Back in March, Fred Warner's wife Sydney posted a seemingly innocuous Instagram story of her morning coffee with the caption, "The happiest of Mondays." A few hours later, she followed that up with a Diet Coke post captioned, "And the day just keeps getting better. Celebratory Diet Coke," with some rather cheerful background music. Still, not really an obvious red flag or anything, only it just so happened to take place right after the 49ers released fullback Kyle Juszczyk, Warner's longtime teammate. So fans immediately started connecting the dots, and the speculation started flying. Kristen Juszczyk, Olivia Culpo, and Claire Kittle are all regularly photographed together at games and events throughout the season. Sydney Warner? Well, she's conspicuously absent from all of those photos. Some people pointed to political differences as the potential cause of the divide, though none of the wags involved have really ever confirmed anything publicly. Others chalk it up to the simple personality clashes that happen in any social circle. Still, the Bachelor alum clearly knows how to stir the pot without actually saying a word. Ciara. Russell Wilson and Ciara have been called a lot of things over the years, corny being one of the nicer criticisms that they've received. But in 2025, the narrative around them shifted to something more pointed: fame chasing. When Wilson signed with the Giants on a one-year deal this offseason, media members openly questioned whether the move was really about football or whether it was more about accessing the New York market. Then came the birthday party that got people really talking. After the Giants lost 22-9 to the Chiefs in Week 3, Wilson threw a surprise 40th birthday bash for Ciara with several of his teammates in attendance. The optics on that one weren't great, celebrating right after a loss, drawing attention to themselves instead of focusing on the team's struggles. Then, Wilson got benched in favor of rookie Jackson Dart the following week, which only made the party look worse in hindsight. Ciara also went on The Breakfast Club and pushed back pretty hard on people calling Russell corny. She defended him as the great husband and father who gets unfairly criticized. But to some listeners, that interview just confirmed all the criticism that they already had about the couple. Look, there's nothing inherently wrong with a couple being public about their relationship and celebrating each other. But when your husband keeps getting benched and his team is sitting well below 500, I don't know, maybe save the big parties for the off-season. Brittany. And finally, the one that nobody has ever actually seen. Yeah, so Aaron Rodgers announced in June of 2025 that he had secretly gotten married earlier in the year. The woman's name is reportedly Brittany, but that's all anyone really knows about her. No one has met her in person, not his teammates on the Steelers, nor their wives and girlfriends, not even his own family members. Steelers wags have reportedly started calling her a phantom because, well, she's just never around. Rodgers hasn't been photographed with her in public a single time since announcing the marriage, and in fact, people are even having a hard time digging up the marriage license. Though, to be fair, there is a serious question if he even believes in those sorts of things anymore. This is Aaron Rodgers we're talking about. At this point, fans are genuinely split on whether she even exists at all or if it's more of just weird behavior from the future Hall of Famer. Rodgers has defended her desire for privacy in interviews and called her an incredible wife. But the whole mystery around the situation is bizarre by any measure. Some fans think that he's just being protective of someone who genuinely wants to stay private, while others, well, they think he's lying about being married altogether and there is no Brittany. Whether she's real or not, this is still one of the stranger wag stories in recent memory. And until she actually shows up in public, well, the speculation isn't going anywhere anytime soon. Plus, this whole thing just sort of gives off "my girlfriend goes to another school" vibes. How old is Rodgers? Why can't he just be normal? But hey, which of these NFL wags do you think gets way too much hate? Who do you think actually deserves the criticism that they're getting? And is there anyone notable that we may have missed or maybe should have been on this list? Let us know in the comment section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, then hey, clicking that like button helps out a ton. And you know, we really appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, then subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.